though? BallHawk Show.
What up, though? BallHawk Show.
You know, we went from talking about Booger McFarland, his comments, and how it can not only impact Dwayne Haskins, but just impact the players that look like us. You know what I'm saying? Because he generalized it with just African-American players because he said it makes up 7% of the league. What he should have just said was just all young players need to recognize, because you have young Caucasian players who do the same thing as Haskins, do the same thing as Juju, same thing as Jamarcus Russell. And then you can start to differentiate how the leash is shorter. That would have been a great talking point, a great discussion. So you can better paint the picture of saying, yo, you got to make sure and realize that you can't do what they do, but you still have to hold yourself accountable. Whether you can do what somebody can do or not, you still have to hold yourself accountable. I tell my son, you're a young black male. You can't do what your neighbors do. But at the same time, you still got to know right from wrong. In anything, you got to know right from wrong. You just can't say, well, they did it and they got away with it. If it's wrong, you can't do it. Even they get away with it, don't make it right. It's still wrong. You feel what I'm saying? So, you know, and my man Burr asked me what Booger McFarland said. Basically, Booger McFarland was going at Dwayne Haskins or any young African-American athlete, basically saying that these guys are more worried about off-the-field things like a Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and not working on their craft. And with that being said, he makes a great point. And then he pointed out Jamarcus Russell, who didn't take his craft seriously, blah, 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 blah. What he should have did is pointed out that if you are a first or second round pick, you're a huge investment, whether you're white or black. And football is a business. And though you understand the business of social media, you still have to recognize that the conveyor belt on the field still pushes everything off the field, whether white or black. So while sports is a business, hold on, let me get my man Robert T in here. While sports is a business, you just can't pick and choose which business. We all understand how the old heads don't care for the young bloods and what they do on social media because they didn't do it and it's not their cup of tea. But you just can't generalize and say, 70% is just black. And when you start doing that, they're gonna use you like Booger. You got some. That made me think like, damn, Booger, you got something up your sleeve. You know what I'm saying?
I'm about to shed some light on the subject.
Yeah. And yeah, Jamarcus Russell fell in love with lean.
So,
you know what I'm saying? Like, my man had an issue. I told y'all about Pookie and the Carter. My man fell in love with lean.
I'm going to need to talk to Petty Hawk because what I'm about to say, again, to the audience, because, I take the business. People don't know who I am, and business is what I do. They say the truth hurts. And this shit about to sting. And I heard you earlier about
Go ahead.
cursing. So, once again, we talk about Haskins, and I said before, you said it earlier, sports is not a game, it's all business. As African Americans, and I want to explain this to your audience, it's not only a business, it's a billionaire business, $1 billion business. It's not just a game, it's marketing, advertising, TV, revenue, referees, gambling, all over the world. When you start in high school and college, AU, whatever, to seek out to be a professional athlete, if you don't understand corporate America, you're going to fail. Definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expect a different result. 80% of athletes, and again, if you're talking football, the last 2 CBAs, which essentially is, going on 10 years when Geno Trump before he passed away, and then this last CBA. So when football players really started making money over the last 15 years, and this is what people need to know and understand. When you talk about right now, Dwayne Haskins and how he got to the point where he is right now, you hear reports of Urban Meyers like looking to get a job. When you talk about business is about understanding what you have, understanding leverage, understanding how long you have that and growing. Urban Meyers never presented a quarterback in the National Football League that's decent. All-time leading passer in Big Ten history, J.T. Barrett, he's on the street. Cardell Jones, when he won a championship, people didn't realize when he said he didn't come to school to play football. He didn't come to school to go to school. He didn't. He was already 27 years old when he won. People have made millions of dollars off the backs of these uneducated, uninformed, unprepared African-American athletes. I don't blame Dwayne Haskins when I created the word called sports trafficking is because, again, since high school, there have been people that literally try to sell him and his body of work, which is his body, to the highest bidder. So when you talk about sports, there's no other industry in America, in the world, that everything that you do is predicated off your own situation. So if you come to work overweight, your body is a business. It doesn't matter who your agent is. That you see right now, Urban Meyer, who's looking for a job, is not screaming, hey, hire me so I can bring Dwayne Haskins and make him my quarterback. Because he's not going to do it. Because he'll be out of a job. Same thing with Athletes First and all these other guys. Again, so you see a magazine in Forbes glorifying how many agents and how much money they made. But yet, again, 80% go broke. So if you're talking about this, these are the same people. So years ago, and I, obviously, those who don't know, I represent a guy who was one of the perfect all-time recruits. And he's the only player in NFL history, sports history, that came into the professional ranks as his own sports agency, meaning like he put more money into himself now, understanding this game is not forever. And understanding that,
Rashawn Gary.
So understanding the business, you are the business. You can't become the number one overall recruit in high school and turn around and say you want to be pro, and then when you turn 18, 19, 20, you tell your mom, oh, now I'm going to sell you to the highest bidder because now you waited for me to get to the point where I developed and got to where I'm at. And now I'm supposed to sit there and pay someone royalty for something that without me doesn't cease to exist. So when you talk about the situations of what Dwayne Haskins did, and going back to all the players in the past, really the majority of Ohio State players, whether Ezekiel Elliott pulling things down and doing all the different things, making bad business decisions. When I said this before, that at the end of the day, the majority of players in this business doing the same are going to be broke, operating on the same people, the same service providers, the same people that you're talking about mentoring and before about how you're going to go about helping them get to the next point. They're not there to tell Dwayne Haskins not to be in a strip club. They're there to basically represent him, get paid once he do go to the strip club without the mask. He don't understand Derek. He was smart talking about being a pro athlete. He would know Derek Jeter would tell people when they came in his house, here's a whiskey basket, a basket, drop your phone in the basket. I've been teaching Rashawn that since I know when. We're not talking about not being mature. We're not talking about not being young and million. We're talking about understanding this is a business in corporate America. And if you want to operate as a 13-year-old, you're going to get what you're going to get. And the bottom line is that's because you are who you surround yourself with. There are these agencies that turn around to make you pay upfront money for fees and dues and costs to make you seem like you're a gangster, you're a baller, buying Bentleys and all those things like that. I'm not understanding protocols and clauses. So when you do this with COVID, again, we asked about Washington. A lot of guys right now are getting cut week 17 because the same agencies are signing them up for incentive-based contracts, numbers that don't really exist. And so they'll come to you the day before the game and say, we got to see this rookie to play or not because it's the last game of the season. Telling that veteran that don't realize that at the end of the day, he's one game away from getting that incentive. When Marcus Mariota played 2 weeks ago when Derek Carr got hurt, he got $200,000 because he played over 60% of his snaps. Reality is if Carr didn't get hurt, he wouldn't have made that money. But who the hell would sign you to a contract like that? Unless you don't understand that at the end of the day, you want to believe that you're going to play, and you don't recognize Derek Carr's contract, and then recognize at the end of the day, that was just funny money you just lucked into because the dude got hurt. This thing happened every day of the week. And the same people, like I said again, like you mentioned, like, I'm not calling this guy no booger. Because the bottom line, if you're a professional and you're for anything you do, your name is McFarland. But if you understand how this whole business works, we talk about the SEC and ACC and guys like Dabo and Nick Saban, and we talked about before, like how, Tua, you want to say Nick Saban is a great coach, but yet he never produced anybody in the NFL as a quarterback worth talking about. A.J. McCarron, Greg McElroy. When I break down the facts, you can't dispute that. So don't call me and say he's the greatest coach ever if you say in this sport, the most important position is quarterback, and he never had one. So why you keep going and play for him? If you keep talking about how this thing is supposed to work and how he's supposed to know and put you in a situation to be set up for success, then you're the number 3 overall and Trent Richardson, but all your tires on your tread is off, and now you're back in Alabama trying to basically start a youth football foundation, but the biggest program in America where you got the Heisman is doing nothing for you. You have no It's the same people that was in your circle that telling you everything you want to hear, not what you need to know. At the end of the day, it's horrific. And the thing is, when it comes to Haskins, no. And I said this to you last year when he went out with that Simba thing. And then he was talking about being a Giants quarterback. And I explained to you on your show about Eli Manning. So for everybody that had jokes about Eli's not this, Eli's not that, what you need to know is Eli's the highest paid player currently in the history of the NFL. out of the New York market. So regardless of the fact, that's business. So when every time somebody would say something about Dwayne Haskins online, he will respond to it as Simba. This corporate America organization, this billionaire organization, don't want somebody who has thin skin, who can't recognize the opportunity that he has. Only one of 32 quarterbacks in the NFL, in the most popular sport in the world. There are people waiting on lines around the corner to get there. But once again, you'll see a Forbes magazine about David Mulligita, and I said his name on purpose because he's young, he light-skinned, he got nice little hair, homies, things like that. Dudes don't know business. If 80% of the players in the NFL go broke within 2 years of retirement, mind you, someone who can't do what they do, can't play, can't put their body on the line, yet you focus on people glorifying him, and then they basically ridiculing and skewering Dwayne Haskins. You always surround yourself with. Why is athletes first? Why is Urban Meyer not getting that same flack? If the NFL basically telling you, we talked about this the other day, about how they said Michigan didn't do this with Rashawn Gary. We knew that already. They're saying that from day one. They didn't want him to leave. They wanted him to put all his bones and his body and his blood into that school and then let the carcass go to the NFL, and if you make some money, great. They recruit you on that BS, but the reality is the NCAA is its own business entity, so is the NFL. And so the reality is, again, it's your job as an athlete. You want to be a professional athlete, you want to be a pro, you want to actually be one of these quarterbacks to get yourself to that point. It's not for the NFL once you get there, like any other corporate organization, to hold your hand and walk you through it. That's not how this works. Sports is the only business, and you've been in it, I've been in it, where you go to work every day and somebody to take your job. When you come in there and all of a sudden, in the arena, for example, I had that same talk with, you play semi-pro. You try to come play on the ice and wall and see how long you last. I took Will Carroll from Florida, a receiver, who everybody was SEC All-American. I remember when he got to arena for a little bit. He came from the Cleveland Browns, and I sent him home to the end of his career because he thought it was a game coming from the pros and SEC in college. It's like he don't know the route. He ran that route so close to that wall, and I put him through the wall. He bounced back, and I put him to it again on his route. That was it. He left. So, again, you don't know the business that you in, you're going to get left behind. And so there's no excuse that have representation you paying hundreds of thousands of millions of dollars to not understand, unless you there, once again, try to be friends. Oh, I want to be cool, so let me look like I'm getting this kid a Bentley. That Bentley, you don't know what that Bentley costs, but guess what? That agency sent you to that dealership that they're going to get a kickback from. So again, at the end of the day, I'm not making an excuse for Haskins. I'm not basically saying that he's right or wrong. I'm saying that, but this business is cutthroat. In any business, what a businessman is, and what a business is saying that at the end of the day, if you're not prepared to be in the business, then you're out of it. And if you don't understand that, then you need to go somewhere else. So and that's why I said the true purpose. So all these athletes and families thinking that, I'm about to go through this draft process. The NFL drafted next year already. Guess what? So for all those kids right now staying in school during this pandemic because their coaches convinced them to come back for this free year for years 6 and 7, you are now going into a pool that's not going to be diluted. That's going to be compounded based off of the guys that they want who are younger and have less tread off their tires. Then the next year, you're going to find out the coach that told you come back for one more year, get drafted high. You're not. And then you're going to have the NFL saying you're 25, 26 years old.
They're a year older.
And that means a year more worn out. So like any other animal, whether it's the pig or the horse that runs around the track, once you're done, you're out the pasture. So you don't have no time, no business not recognize that this is a business and you have to maximize the opportunity on and off the field. So it's not about being immature. It means that he's not a professional. But he can't be a professional if you're not around professional people. Period. End the story. So again, the facts is, look at Urban Meyer. He hired coaches that basically beat up his wife. And he said he had a heart attack. He was a coach in Florida when the kid's legs exploded. He was a coach where he basically when Cam Newton threw the laptop out the window. He was a coach of Aaron Hernandez, the only serial murderer in the league. He's a coach of the Pouncey brothers that basically had all the gang signs. He's a coach of Riley Ridley, since you were talking about White, who called a dude the N-word. He's a coach of Percy Harvin that couldn't see straight. He's the coach that would say that Percy was smoking weed since the time he got in college. He's the coach of Ezekiel Elliott who can't not keep his hands on a woman's chest when she walks by. But y'all want to talk about Dwayne.
And the thing is, I
can keep going. But the thing is,
That's the crazy part about it, bro. You can keep going, and this is one coach. Uh-oh. We lost you, Rob. Hey, Rob, come back in, man. God dang it. Hey, Rob, come back in. But, yo, why he load back up? Look at that, man. Why ain't nobody talk about Urban Meyer? Is that a coach that truly prepare players to be men, leaders of the world? Yo. There we go. He back. There we go. He coming back. What?
Apologize for that. Did I miss anything?
There you go.
Did I miss anything?
Nah. Going back to who you named and how it's amazing with all those names, because you got plenty more you can name, how still uplift and talk about how great Urban Meyer is.
Want to give him a job in the NFL, and he ain't never did anything without his players getting in trouble in the NFL. The majority of Ohio State players, whether you like it or not, and I know this to be a fact because I work with athletes at every level. There's things that's going on in college, university that literally they're allowing to happen just so they can extort these kids on which agency they choose. I mean, doing all types of godforsaken things. And then it happens in the NFL. You want to, now the lawyers were there to basically be there to basically stand there and say, you know what? Yeah, I'm going to represent you for this amount of money. Now this dude basically he literally rented his money. So not understanding how all this works, and that's why I said at PrePostGame.com, we teach all these things, because the fact of the matter is, it doesn't matter who your agent is. And I proved that with Rashawn Gary. It doesn't matter what school you went to, because they get to develop you. They're not there to develop you. If they did, they wouldn't be these $1 million and $1 billion facilities that they send you to after you declare. If you were so great at developing people, Dabble Sweeney, with your slides and your nap rooms, why are all these kids are leaving school and going somewhere else? You have $55 million. You didn't want to be. You said if the kids get played, you want to go to the NFL. How? Just like Nick Saban tried that. We ain't playing those games as the pros. You take that shucks, have soda and pizza, call me all types of names, disrespecting me back if you want to. That ain't win no games. Never forget, Dabble Sweeney is the coach that basically allowed Mitchell Trubisky to get drafted over Deshaun Watson. But nobody gonna talk about that either, because he wasn't prepared. But now Kelly Bryant, who played and won all those games while Dabble got that money, is not even in the NFL right now. He said it's about the team, but he pulled the Kelly out when he was undefeated and had to get your boy Trevor in. Why? Because once again, it was about what he can do to make Dabble look a certain way, and now trying to make Trevor look a certain way. So once again, these coaches will tell you one thing is about the team. If you undefeated and I haven't lost, why are you taking me out for a freshman? But then everybody else, they got to wait their turn and work to do what they got to do. It's business. Dabble is not who we say he is, because he uses Jesus' name on me, he ain't like the devil like Saban. It doesn't matter. So when you talk about McFarland and the SEC or the ACC, and that's why I said the truth don't hurt this thing, because at the end of the day, these guys are not educated. I'm talking about, and I want to say this to your audience. You may hear about, and I'm naming names, Rock Nation, Athlete First, CAA, you name it. There's none of them that can represent a player better than I can from the business side. None. They never have. They are peons. Let me say how peons they are, because once again, if you represent somebody 80% of the time, they have nothing to show for it, but injuries and CTE and mental health disorders and things like that. Mind you, you got alumni, you got guys that went to school, you got guys that got Heisman's and got nothing. You got Herschel Walker running around there for the Republican Party looking like Boo-Boo the Fool to try to sit back there. You really don't want to know how Herschel Walker living with that Heisman in the SEC. He ain't got nothing. And the agent represent him, that's who got the money. That's the facts. But again, none of them play. If no player signed with an agent this year, they are still going to draft. And they're going to draft next year too. And they're going to draft the year after that.
Somebody said you mean agent or financial advisor.
That's a funny thing you say that, because they're all the same. Because in this college scenario, financial advisors can actually come up to a player and say, oh, yeah, I represent this guy and that guy. They'll talk about things like, you want to diversify your portfolio, which, again, I'm not going to go into that piece now, because, again, some of this stuff can go way over your people's head. When they say that, that means if you lose money and you make a little money, come out even, as long as I'm the advisor, I'm the commission base, I get paid. But so there's other things that I can do as an athlete that I can invest my money in, that's going to have my returns on my dividends, whether it's life insurance, that go 100% back to me. but they're not going to advise you on that because that don't make them any money. So once again, it's not, again, there's information, knowledge, technology, all this stuff is out here. And at the end of the day, people want to sit back and act like, they're going to come up and just, all of a sudden do something for you. Here's a little secret about this industry. You play in the business. 99% of this industry is a fraud. It's a scam. Top to bottom. What I mean by that, the trainer, they're going to tell you that he's going to make you the next best thing. No, it's not. It's going to be your work ethic, your body, your size, your weight, your commitment to that actual game. The same guy that all of a sudden now, because you got this guy, he got this Cuban link, and this other guy wants to wear it too, so you want to do it for the gram. Guess what? When you go on Instagram keeping those followers, you can't take them, and they ain't paying you no money. So everybody that's in this business that want to, again, and I have a post about everybody want to work with the athlete, coach the athlete, be the agent of the athlete, financial advisor of the athlete, mentor the athlete, be around the athlete, the group of the athlete. Very few want to basically empower the athlete or advocate for the rights of the athlete to get paid. Ever. So So
I said that. So many folks give you enough game to where they still need it versus giving you
once
the game
you learn the game, like we teach and like I have done already, factual, like again, the only player ever to come in, because he knew as a high school player, I'm a top 5 guy. I got to this point in school, he go interview these agents. They said, we're going to make you this. He asked a simple question. What round am I going to be in if I sign with you?
Hey, look what Marvin said. He said his agent didn't want him to go to the CFL. Why? Because his agent wasn't CFL certified.
Right. Again, you can't play forever. You better go get that certification, but you got to pay for it. But if I'm paying you, you better go take my money. See, that's the point. This whole structure of agents paying, they take your money and use it to get somebody else on their roster. They ain't going to you.
So George Michael said, young black guys don't understand it's a business. That's our problem.
Exactly the problem. Because it's us. Without us, there is no them. Period. In sports. That's why I said before, without the players, there is no coach. There is no Power 5. So when you get guys to go to these schools with the exploits and help of the ESPNs of the world and 247s, you are hurting your sports trafficking guys certain ways, because they're going to send that money to that dealership, that money to that jewelry store, that money to that financial advisor, that money to that insurance agent. And then at the end of the day, when that cycle comes around again, they're going to say Dwayne Haskins' name again. They're going to say he was a first rounder. The kid and the mom not even going to recognize the dude got fired. All they're going to see is a top 15 pick, and they're going to sign here. Do it all over again. And it's ridiculous. Because the bottom line is, again, there's no excuse. Like I said, business. I'm not here to hold Dwayne Haskins' hand. Because I don't need to. I'm in business. And how I stay in business is if I don't provide the service and value that I need, I get fired. It's just that simple. So people got to stop talking about, oh, these kids. No, you want to be in the sports business? You got to.
Hey, yo, Adam want to talk about the HBCU thing.
So that's fine, Adam. Like I said, I know I said this before. Perfect example, Deion Sanders. He hustling y'all like anybody else. He gonna get his son out there. He gonna get all the limelight. Because again, I tell people all the time in business, it's better to be the one than one of any day of the week. So when you say HBCUs, who are you talking about? Talking about Deion. He won. And once he get what he needs, he's going to take that platform and go get paid somewhere else. See, he couldn't do that at the next level where the Power 5s, because it's the same thing before. It's just like Michael Jordan signing LaMelo Ball. Like Michael Jordan, what they say was the greatest player ever, but Michael ain't selling tickets off for being the greatest player ever in Charlotte anymore. But LaMelo, as I said before, is light years ahead of Michael from a business sense, because he's a part owner of the team that he played for over in Australia. You know who he didn't play for? The NCAA. And the 3rd pick overall. You know who he didn't play for? Coach K of Kansas. Or the Blue Blood. Anybody else. You know why? Because he's 6'8" or 6'9". You know who give that to him? His mom and his daddy. So his name, image, and likeness ain't got to be sold back to him. For these sports traffickers going to tell you that they're going to make you out of something. They ain't going to do anything. They're going to take what you done. They're going to exploit you. That's why Zion being sued for $100 million for something that he didn't know and understand. Because it's like Dwayne Haskins. He don't understand the business. No matter how. As soon as they recognize you where they are, they're going to put you in this bubble, in this box. And they're going to treat you like the best new pit bull with the dot around his eye. And label you the special breed. And you're going to do what they tell you to do. So you can't do it no more. Then it's next man up. And
whether you prepare for it, whether you should be there, it's the business.
And that's why I created Pre-PostGame.
We get our return, because if it fails, it's gonna be your fault. It ain't. us. They're gonna blame
And
you.
that's the point. And that's why the NCAA and the pro leagues, and when I mention those agencies, once again, I can say what I said because even if you look at the kid that I represent from here, no one has a bigger brand than he has through all the different agencies, the guys that came before him, the 4 or 5 years, and now. So when I say RG Sports is from a Michigan standpoint, I'm using that exact example. You look at Michigan last 7 draft picks, even Devin Bush, 10th pick overall, he don't got the brand Rashawn got, not even close. What else he really don't have, he don't got the money Rashawn got for not going back in somebody else's pocket for something that he did himself. Because this game gonna end. So the reality is, if you represent me and basically you put me in a situation where my job basically puts you in a better situation than me, then what am I doing?
Hey, Burr asked how many agents and financial advisors out there like you that black athletes
You want to tell them, Ahmad? Listen, hey, Destiny. I go by the players rep. Now, you hashtag the players rep, you'll see me. If you watch the TV show called Ballers, that's who I am. That's my character. And it's actually that show is going off right now. The NCAA and that show have taken stuff from my actual brand and put it on their TV show and never gave me any props or anything. I'm not a financial advisor, and I refuse to be an agent. The agent is the devil, and I say that purposefully. And what I mean by that is because at the end of the day, I'll give you a perfect example. You literally are a first-round pick. We know that already. So we know you're a first-round pick. Now you come in and tell me, okay, so what's your fees? Mostly they don't tell guys what it costs. They want to befriend you, talking about how they represented Matthew Stafford, or this guy and that guy. I'm like, bro, this is business. Why are you telling me about somebody else? Do you even know my full name? You know I got a middle name? No, they don't know. They just see that you ranked a certain way, and Mel Kiper said something. Then they'll say, okay, well, what's your fees? Well, if you're first round, 1.5%, 2%, 3%, whatever. So what about the third round? 3%. Simple business. When they say percentages, one, you don't know where you're going to be. You don't know exactly the pick you're going to be. How is someone representing you going to give you an outright percentage when you don't know where you're going to be for 6 months? It's like saying, BallHawk, you going to come work for me today for the next 6 months. Then I tell you what you're going to get paid after the 6 months when you're done. Even though you're the reason why I'm getting paid. And they do this every year. And so basically now all of a sudden you say you're in the third round, 3%. So hold on, let me get this straight. I'm making less because I fell in the draft for whatever reason. But for that reason, I'm going to pay you more. Like I said to you earlier, in sports, you're the reason for everything that happens. So if I fall, I'm going to pay you more for making less, and you wonder why 80% go broke? It makes zero sense. But this entire industry, through college and high school and pros and A, is set up that way. And that's why I said you're not going to change the system. You're going broke. I can tell you when guys sign this year at a certain age, they going broke before it's all said and done. Now, I mentioned Tim Richardson earlier because at the end of the day, like I said, you got alumni, you won the Heisman, you was in the NFL, you top 3 pick, you broke, and it's less than 5 years after you got it into the league. Where's those stories at? And so that's that.
And Denise, I mean, because she asked, so where are the people who are there to educate?
Again, I'm going to say that again. Pre-PostGame.com. You educate yourself. The information that we put out there and that is out there is basic principles of corporate America. That trust the process word is the worst thing ever. You can't trust a process that's built off of you. And so at the end of the day, if someone tells you that, and again, I'll give you a simple example. And this is my checks and balances for your audience. Educate, empower, protect. If somebody basically says to me something to me that I don't know, I'm going to listen. All right, I'm learning. How can you, now you're empowering me. How does a guy that nobody, I'm not related to Rashawn Gary. I'm not related to the highest rated player in the history of the East Coast. I didn't know his mama. All I did is came to present my business, present what I can teach, present how I can protect them. And then basically they looked at everybody else of what they were saying and the value relied on us. So this guy right here, for the highest rated player in the history of the East Coast. So again, East meaning Jersey, meaning every other player, whether it's Kimdichie, Vince Young from Texas, Kimdichie from Georgia, David Conley from South Carolina, and Ernie Sims, I forget, I think he's from Georgia too. Those are the 5 highest rated football players in the history of, there's a dash there, Destiny, PRE-POST, in the history of high school football. Also the highest rated recruit in Michigan history, which is a big school. So if Rashawn went to South Carolina, if he went to Clemson, he went to Alabama, he would be their highest rated recruit ever. So when I say these things, I'm not talking because I think. I was there. I'm around. So basically everything that these coaches say and do, and these agents, they all came and presented. Hold on, you think I'm joking? I ain't got time right now. But I would go on the draw and pull out one of these agencies' portfolios and pictures for you, show you how juvenile it really is. Because I have them all. So when I'm
hey, my dog Adam, he going hard for his dog.
I know who Reggie Wilkes is. Reggie Wilkes went to Georgia Tech. Just so you know, Adam, I'm the player's rep. It's my job to know every and anybody. Just because I don't let you know who's what. Yeah. I know them. See, that's the thing. I know them, but they don't know me. And that's how I do it. That's how I do it. So I know exactly what it is. But even at the same time, the reality is financial advisors are not. The most important financial advisor any player can have is themselves, understanding their own business portfolio. That's the point. Because I also know that there's advisors out there that will have guys invest in things. And that's why a lot of them end up broke on certain, portfolios or certain business ventures that they call them that literally because they thought somebody else do it. If everything was so on the up and up, you wouldn't see the last year where all those guys from the NFL got indicted for medical fraud for trying to sell hyperbaric chambers. Clinton Porter. Find out who his agent was. Find out who Terrell Owens' agent was. Find out at the end of the day who's still working in the NFL. See what you don't realize years ago, before technology, before these players really started going broke and making money, how did these players' numbers end up in these certain agents' hands? Who gave it to them? These coaches. So if you gave them the number, what you think is going back to them? But yet they still going broke. But you about to hire Urban Meyer in the NFL to do what?
Hey, Brandon, if you wanna holler at Rob, man, Robert T. Green, just look him up. He on my friends list, my Facebook. And when I post this, he'll be attached to it. Because BJ just started his own podcast, man. He comes on my podcast. Good dude. So yeah, Rob.
This is the stuff.
If you want to request, man, hit him up.
This is what I said before. This is not, again, I'm talking about the truth hurts. And I know we want to talk about sports in a sense of enjoyment, entertainment. But once I said it before, this is all business. This is all. I know who Bart Scott is. Bart. See, I don't even want to get me started on that scenario. See, so Adam, let me explain.
Look, all right, so I'm not gonna have him verify if you know a bunch of people.
Don't drop names, Adam, because there's some things because I'll tell you some things about people that, regardless of the fact that, again, at the end of the day, you don't understand.
Hey, yo, I'm gonna tell y'all the truth right now. If you ask him a question, you gotta be wanting to know the truth because he gonna be like straight to the point.
That's even when by the way. So it's not about a he say, she say. So when I say I'm the player's rep, I'm the player's rep, meaning like I know exactly what all these guys do and how they did it, when they do it, and why they did it, and where the bodies are. So just so people to know, me and Ahmad, we both played arena football. But when I started this business, I started it based off of the players again. So when even these guys you mentioned were in the NFL or in the sports industry, players are still going broke. Players still didn't know their own business. Players still were getting taken advantage of. And I created a business to basically speak on the way I speak on these things. And when I talk about business, two things happen in this country. They try to slander you or they try to sue you. They don't like it. The NCAA do not want to see me. They don't want to say my name. They know I know. If you look at the new College Bill of Rights that's coming out, that information that's in there, it didn't come up by itself. If you look at our actual platform and portfolio, that's basically copy and pasting what I've been saying for years. You can't give me back my name, image, and likeness that belonged to me from my mommy and my daddy. When I said that Rashawn Gary had his own logo and was trademarked in college, and he's the only other player besides Johnny Manziel, I was responsible for that. But you're not going to see me on ESPN. So no disrespect to you, Mr. Harrell, but at the same time, I'm talking about as far as the actual body. If you really want to help these athletes, step outside your box and call these people to the floor. There is not a financial advisor or agency in this country that basically is preventing these players from going broke. Individually, yes. That as a whole, no. And that does us no good. Because the bottom line is, again, I know Reggie Wilkes. I know how much money Reggie has made. Every player that I deal with that may be coming through junior college, who may never see the pros, who want to be one, I have those conversations with them. They may never see the pros, but they will understand professionalism. They'll understand business. They'll understand how to invest in themselves. They understand how to protect themselves. The only way they're gonna ever see Reggie Wilkes is he got a 7-figure number or 6-figure number behind his back. I know because I know Reggie's actual people that he worked with too. And I tell them, stop telling me names. Because the bottom line is that nobody can sell me. My job is to audit, vet, and monitor everybody. Not because they friends of mine, not because somebody said that they did this for them. I audit them every single day of the week in the year. So like I said, it's not about the resume, because again, I drop names myself. That's how you figure, like, well, how did he get to this point? How is he talking like this about this industry? And if you go down my profile, you'll see my pictures with Dabo. You see me with on the sideline of the field. Like, how the hell did he get out there? For one reason, I represent the players. What the players want, if they recognize and know you got their back, you can have access to anything. And so for me, I've gotten to the point where I've been able to be in this business because at the end of the day, the business side of it is what we're missing. We're missing it. And as African Americans, we control like McFarland said, 70%. If we are 70% owners in something, and yet we are 80% of the time broke in it, what'd that tell you?
Damn.
That's simple English. We are the reason for it at the high school, college level. You got ESPN playing guys in high school never gonna be in the league. They basically McDonald's All-American. But you hear the word McDonald's, you forget who they are because they're doing the McDonald's All-American next year. So at the end of the day, it's like you don't even understand how to control in your own platform what you actually do. And you quick to give it to somebody else because somebody else did the same exact thing. But like I said before, insanity. 70% of the most popular sport in this country, 80% broke. Then you go to Forbes, you hear about financial advisors and agents and how much money they made. But makes zero sense. And so for instance, when I said before, I can represent athletes better than anybody in this country, that's what I meant. And none of them agents want to come say my name or want to bring me to the mat. Because like I said before, you charging 1%. Like I said, Rashawn Gary asked the agent, what round I'm going to be in? They said first, oh, thank you. Appreciate that free information that I'm going to be a millionaire before I sign with you. Show me a first round. Why am I giving you percentage of something that I've done already?
That's going to come regardless.
So what am I paying for? Ask Dwayne Haskins, then you got the answer to your test. That's all I'm going to do.
Damn.
Because
hey, man, you can drop so much. We got to process this.
What you paid for. You were the first round pick, and you knew it was going to be a first round. What you paid for. Because you out of a job right now. But that money is guaranteed. That money is due to them anyway this year too, whether you fired or not.
Yeah, I always question that too. If you're a bona fide top pick or first round pick, like, and when we talked about this on my podcast, you remember how they joked Lamar?
Yeah, he ain't paying anybody but his mama in the business. But I would drop some more stuff right now, but I get paid to really say what I do and how I do it that nobody's ever done. So that's why I said you can look at RG Sports, you look at Rashawn Gary, you can look at it from this standpoint. Once again, a first round contract is 4 years with a 5th-year team option. And this is for your audience to know. What agents do, they don't tell you, because again, it's not technically guaranteed, that 5th-year team option will be picked up by the team. However, that 5th-year team option means essentially that you're, based on how this inflation goes, once that 5th-year team option kicks in, it's almost double the amount of money you made the first 4 years. The agent now is going to collect on that 5th team option without negotiating anything from that contract. Then he's going to say after that 5th team option, he's going to start to the next contract. And then want to charge you for that one too. And that one that may be 80, 90 million, that percentage as well. And then he's going to introduce you to a financial advisor that he know. Then he's going to introduce you to the insurance advisor that he know. He'll introduce you to the jeweler that he know, the car dealership, the real estate, the attorney.
That's why they sign those extensions, because they are part of that.
So again, the reality is that the sport is what it is. And when somebody on the audience said that the first round's already slotted, guess what? Every slot in the NFL is slotted. You tear your ACL, you falling, no matter who you are. And you go ahead and punch a woman in the face like Ray Rice, you falling. Doesn't matter who you are. So it's again, all the different things you're talking about, what Dwayne Haskins did, and is basically threw that away, because that's what he did. And he did throw it away. He threw it away because the bottom line is you want to be, it's only 32 jobs in this country. Rashawn Gary is one of outside linebacker, but he got drafted. He was a defensive end. So now what is explained to him is that usually they have 4 on each team. 4 on each team. 4 times 32. That's not that many of the most popular sport in the world. And they drafted next year. Don't take care of your body. Come out there looking like sloppy Joe. Do all those crazy things to get you caught up. And they're going to basically leverage you in business right out the position for somebody cheaper. That's how it goes. So again, no matter if it's sports, it could be, see it out the window. That's McAfee. Their company logos, trademark.
Logo.
They've done that. Once again, all the major agencies in the world, they never had anybody basically had their own logo coming out of college. Not understanding that you can do that. They ain't gonna tell you that. Yeah. So what I'm saying is that when somebody asks what can you do or who it is, stop worrying about everybody else. This is the business.
You got your camera.
You gotta learn. You pulled out books earlier. No, nobody else is going to teach you what we teach. That's why we are business. That's how we got in the business.
You got your camera.
I'm sorry. Right? No, nobody's gonna teach you what we teach you, but you still have professional business principles and tools you can educate yourself on. I'm giving this away free. Educate yourself on life insurance. I tell every athlete, life insurance is way more important than an actual agent you choose, because that's the one dividend that's going to pay back when, even now this year, the NFL with the COVID, they were doing 401k matching. Again, you talk about 401k, 529, like people going in and signing contracts with agents don't know anything about this. They don't know that is a tax code. They don't know that, like, when we poor, like I used to be, and I ain't saying I'm rich, but I'm all right. This thing costs. You got to view it costs.
Yeah.
So don't get me twisted about somebody that's just don't understand. When you basically now doing things that literally benefits everybody else besides yourself, how you think this is gonna end? Like, it doesn't matter. Like, family thinks that when you get to the NFL, you got to be rich. That's not true. The majority of players in the NFL are not rich, but they're paying agencies that are rich for nothing. And so when I say about life insurance, and say the NFL all of a sudden now takes away your 401k for matching because of COVID, and they give you strict rules and protocols about the fines, and then 3 weeks ago you saw what happened to Deshaun Watson, and you saw what happened with these other guys. The NFL made it clear about what you got to do, and you're the starting quarterback, and you now in a club with 7 jerseys on that look like yours with somebody else's team. You literally did not think through anything. That's the biggest egregious part about this business, is that you got people in the strip club with your jersey on, 7 of them. So clearly you thought this was the best thing to do. It's not about being a loss. It's like you got them in your jerseys that's out there on their phone and Instagram live streaming. That tells me all I need to know about how his money gonna end. And that's the saddest part. Because again, it's already been tried and true. And that's all I want people to do is recognize, like, look, if you want to be a pro athlete, start teaching yourself to be a pro. I'm not sitting here and telling anybody anything right now. Like, if you feel like paying money to somebody into something that you know already that you've done is in your best business interest, you get what you get. I don't feel sorry. That's why I say athletes, parents, it's on you. Because all that Instagram stuff that y'all try to act like, all y'all going through the draft process right now, think y'all going to be a first rounder, screenshot and get the pictures with the jet. They don't belong to you. All you former pro athletes that went broke now and using the agencies to pimp out the next group of kids and generation. Yep, I said it, because that's how it goes. That's why no disrespect to your man, Mr. Harrell, but when he dropped names, I'm going to just say some of those names, I've already done my vetting on those guys. So you shouldn't drop names, because even if they are doing stuff with other guys, it ain't what you think it is. When you mention guys that basically, and I mentioned this to you before, the guys that are on TV that are commentators, what teams they come from and how they get there. So who's the highest, what's the most expensive organization in pro sports? Highest revenue? Cowboys. Again, how many commentators that on the Cowboys are on TV?
So you had Witten before he went back. You got Romo. You had Dion before he started coaching. And before he stopped, Michael Irvin. We know we had broken backs. We had drugs. We had women. We had suicide attempts. And every other player, whether it's Randy Gregory, Greg Hardy, Adam Pac-Man Jones, Mark Tuinei, Nate Newton. See, when I send them to play, I'll run down the history for you. How Jerry Jones became who he is, but you can't take a knee, though. How he became who he was is by letting you screw up,
with the support of those agents, and then literally basically not paying you so I can keep the money in my pocket. You ain't won nothing in 1995. Yeah. And so the guys that end up on TV with the narratives come from certain programs, certain places to continue that narrative. But why are you on TV if you're a Hall of Famer like 60 hours a week? Because you ain't got no money. That's it. How you ain't got no money in the Hall of Fame? And your agent do.
Yeah.
And your team do. And your insurance provider do. And everybody else do. How you ain't got no money? That you gotta be damn near 60 with hair dye, talking about guys who ain't going to be in the league the next year. It's like it's the max, 70%. So whether it's Denver, and the answer to the question is Denver and Dallas for the most part. You'll find a lot of those guys that come from there, but they don't pay their players either. That's why they had Tim Tebow, another Urban Meyer, the best quarterback Urban Meyer ever coached, but you want to bring him to the NFL. To do what?
Yeah.
So it's all business. That's all I'm saying, Ahmad. That's all business. I know, I got to slow down because I know people probably like head popping right now. So, like, again, this is the thing. Mr. Harrell, my folk ain't agent, though. Okay, let me start explaining this again. Financial advisors and agents in every service provider in this industry all flock together, meaning their names, the numbers that they get, they end up connecting. So a scumbag agent would use Mr. Wilkes' name to get the business. Whether Mr. Wilkes knows or understands that or not, that's what's happening. That's how it works. And so at the end of the day, the same guys that he may be flawless, I can tell you, the names you mentioned earlier, they're not all flawless. I know this to be a fact because I work on behalf of the actual players. See, at the end of the day, if anybody wanted to come say, well, Robert, he don't know what he's talking about. Like I said, two things you can do in business when you don't like what somebody say. You can go and do a media push to say what they say is not factual, or you can sue them. And neither one of them going to do that with me. I am the company that represented the Iowa people and players, former players that have the only lawsuit right now going against Iowa, which is in federal court right now. But you won't see that on media right now.
You do. And let me cut you off right quick. And you brought this to me
before.
Because
you my guy. Because you my.
I was like, he was like, yo, we could talk about it. I was like, nah, you do it. Like I was like you. I was like, nah, dog, you break.
I broke it too with Baker Mayfield, and I broke it about a few other things. Yes, I did.
I told you, check the draft. We would talk about Baker Mayfield, Josh Rosen, all those guys, and you came on and said, all y'all got it wrong. Baker,
and this is why he was number one. Because just like Joe Burrow, he was 23 at the time. And when you're a grown man playing against kids in college, you're going to look a certain way. And the NFL is entertainment. So when I said when Dwayne Haskins got picked up by Washington, that was business. But when I said he also wasn't going to get picked up to you about the Giants because the Giants don't operate that way. You can't be on social media going tip and tap back and forth and on the sensitive skin. People, like I said, Eli got killed, but he ain't never said a word and got paid the most money ever. That's how this works. So again, when it comes to all these different things in this industry, that when you have to make a living off of saying somebody else's name, that's what I actually copyrighted the word called sports trafficking. Because at the end of the day, you can say, oh, look how give me an example right now. What current guy? Look how whatever guy was in the NFL, great. How's Antonio Brown doing? How's T.O. doing? How is Clinton Portis doing? Represented by the same guy. They won't mention them three at the time, or Deshaun Jackson. So whoever got signed by, Derek Brown. Derek Brown last year represented Rosenhaus Sports, number 7 overall pick. They'll go mention that guy right now, but they're not going to talk about T.O. They're not going to talk about Clinton Portis. They're not going to talk about Deshaun Jackson. They're not going to talk about, they ain't going to talk about that. But he's still in the league making money over these guys. Yeah, 80 just ain't go broke. Yep. That's why T.O. talking about at 45, 50, 60, he want to race and try to be in the NFL still. Understand how this stuff works, man. And that's the sad part, because now you got these guys on shows with B. Marshall and Shannon Crowder, and they don't know what they talking about. So when you make it,
I like that.
I know you make it. You know why? Because entertainment. I'm not saying not entertaining. But when you told them guys to pull out their, to go to their actual real pads, no different than like reality TV on VH1, if you not noticed since the pandemic, all the
What was that?
You won't see the Love and Hip Hop crew popping as much anymore on social media. Because VH1 is actually fit the bill. when you pretending to be some way in a certain way, at the end of the day, they allow you to keep doing it. Then the bottom line is that you not basically setting yourself up for success. So the facts in sports and African Americans and whether it's AAU, remember, early as you can remember, you went to play a sport, your parent had to sign a permission slip, taking full responsibility of you got hurt, even though you're the reason, even though they selling tickets at the gate. Like, we institutionalized and indoctrinated in being the show, the entertainment, while everybody else gets the dollar. Coaches get bonuses in bowl games. We get hats and T-shirts and aluminum rings to talk about it. Again, that's us. That ain't on them. And that's why I said the two words. In the bottom line, you don't know your worth. You don't demand your worth. That's why when I said the College Bill of Rights, that's my body of work. Whether they want to say that Cory Booker and Bong, they got that from me. Because it ain't the agencies talking about this right now. It ain't the ESPN's putting that out there right now. It's me. And only me and my company. And why is that? Because the bottom line is what you're doing is a perfect example of what it's supposed to look like. I played pros. I know how the pro business works. I don't got to play in the NFL. I live better than most guys that play in the NFL. I trust the facts, not the process. Not because I can play the game, because I know the game. Understand that. That means, just like you, a homeowner, business owner, can do what you do, move as you need to move. It wasn't because of your agent. It's never going to be because of your agent. It wasn't because of your coach in the pros or your coach in college. And that's why I gravitate to you. Because when you start thinking like that, that without them, you can't, you screwed. Because the bottom line is, when you talk about, again, Trent Richardson, and they do the documentary about how he had a TV, he wanted to make everybody happy. Bro, you can't make everybody happy and you don't know what you got coming in and going out. But the people around you wanted it to be that way. Because if you don't know, they can keep taking it till you're done. But like I said, the point is, he had an agent too. So again, for people that don't want to acknowledge it, like I don't ever want to see somebody talking about what they made in Ford based on somebody else's body of work. I can tell you why I get paid off my body of work. I created the first agency ever for a player to come into pros where he has his own business. He is in the NFL in year 2 and has clients. It's called residual income. No financial advisor advised him to do that, sir. Mr. Harrell is sorry to say that. No financial advisor advised him to do that. Why? Because if you put money back into his own business, he can't put it into the advisor's business. So facts are, there's a time and place for everything. But for us as African Americans and athletes, and we go back to that narrative about, you know, whatever it is, it's professional sports. The moment you're a pro, the moment somebody's willing to watch you, pay to watch you play. Because they pay you to watch you play, they now telling you everything you want to hear, not what you need to know. The onus is on you to figure out what that is. That's it. That's it. Nothing else. Hey, Mr. Harrell, I know Reggie is. Reggie living. I know how Reggie living. Reggie don't need any more clients. See, this is what I know too. So that's why you all got to watch that situation too. Reggie is a great guy, but he ain't working with great guys. Trust the facts, not the process. That's where I come in. Because at the end of the day, if Reggie helps him out and they screw him, Reggie's still gonna be getting paid. They're gonna be in a situation, and then I'm gonna be there. There ain't gonna be no financial advisor coming to the player's defense. I am. Because the reality is, when all of a sudden the next guy try to do it, I'm gonna out that guy and say, hey, that dude's a crook. And at the end of the day, they don't like it. They're not smarter than me. They can't build a business like me. They can't create infrastructure like me. They can't create a value proposition in business like me. So when I say what I say it with full confidence and well understanding and knowledge, knowing that at the end of the day, I provide more value to you by telling you, hey, Rashawn Gary, you're a first rounder. But I told you that when you was 18. So now, but somebody gonna say the same thing and want you to pay them for it. Yeah, sick is sickening. That's why I can't sleep at night, because of that. Because when it's all said and done, right now, when it's all said and done for all these guys, regardless of the fact you win Super Bowl, championship, not, the goal should be is you're there to take care of your family and create generational wealth. But it's in a short-term career. So a short-term career based off of uncertainties, taxes, inflation, not knowing where you're going to be at. So again, if it's business, why are you now allowing somebody, because again, you could have went and got your kid a credit card when he was like 16 to help build it up, to teach him that if he doesn't pay that phone bill, it's going to be in his credit report.
Stop. I need to repeat that one more time, because a lot of people don't know that this is how you get a
Your
say
credit
that one more
score.
time.
So you can go get you and I tell you exactly who you go get it from. Capital One, get you a $300 credit card. Start that when your kids are 14 and 15 years old. Pay, don't give it to them. Put it in their name though. Get the gas, pay the gas.
In their name.
Don't go over 30% because once again they're not going to recognize it. So don't go pay it all the way down and then pay it all off because it's never going to hit the actual computer. Also, when you're going to pay it off, you want to make sure that if the due date say is the 19th and things of that nature, you don't want to pay it off, like I said, like 3 days before because it's not going to run until like the 22nd. So the reality is that's what that is from that standpoint. Then you do that all the way through. And then when you get close to the pros, one, if you're talking about being a pro, learn what these agencies cost. Learn what these actual facilities cost. Start putting some money aside each year. So now when you get to the pros, they're going to talk about upfront and advance money. That money will be paid back. So they give you $5,000 a week. Once you start taking money, you then got to report that to the government. That's why the guys I mentioned earlier, TO and tax evasion, because they ain't being taught this stuff. They're quick to sign the agent contract. If I give you $75,000 pre-draft, that's $75,000 in income. For the agency and the business, that's a deduction as you a write-off for them. That's income that is taxable that you didn't think about. So when you go so now you done did that, but you had a real trick. Now that I gave you that $75,000, I'm gonna send you to the jeweler and tell you that jewelry is like $50,000 when it's really like $20,000. That jeweler gonna hit me back with that kickback, and you gonna get that jewelry.
I'm making money
on Instagram, right? Then I'm gonna send you over to the car dealership. Like that car. That car has now been donated to me as a write-off as an agent. I'm giving it to you full value, and I'm writing that off of my business deduction. You ain't 25 yet, so you don't understand how high your actual insurance is going to be based off of your actual age. So don't be speeding because that's going to go up. But regarding the credit card piece, again, like I said again, when you have a client like I do who's not 20, just turned 23, and his credit score has already been over 800, I don't know anybody else is doing that. That means when you at that high score and you want to get things, your interest rate are lower. Interest rate lower means you save money. That's my value as a business that I teach. That's not what they're doing. They're telling you 3% for falling in the draft and basically saying that, hey, you got to recoup this. I'm going to give you this and I'm going to give you that. We're going to drink this. We're going to do that. Look what I did for this guy. Anybody that goes, perfect example, Clutch Sports, anybody that goes to a kid and says, Rich Paul says, yeah, I represent LeBron James. You go ahead. Any kid that's signed with Clutch Sports because LeBron James did, you boo-boo the fool. You're not LeBron James. If that's what you want to hear, then you go look in the mirror and say, I'm LeBron James. It's cheaper. That got nothing to do with you. Your business is your business. And at the end of the day, if you don't understand your business, you're going to get got in. This industry is set up to get got. Mod, we do this every year. These kids are college educated. If Dwayne Haskins not playing football, he ain't doing anything. I know that already.
Yeah.
So what are we doing it for? For athletes first? Clearly. So they can be in Forbes and say they're not going to name his name anymore. They're just going to say first rounder. Because now you just that number again. And there's some guys about to make some decisions right now, and I'm going to share this video as well. Make some decisions with agencies, and I'm flat out. My 2021 resolution, I'm not playing. I'm not pulling no punches anymore. These guys are crooks. This industry is a bunch of crooks. When people talk about how sports is really regulated and how it goes, imagine somebody like yourself right now being who you are and all the work you put in, and somebody suing you for $100 million because they couldn't get a piece of you. Who put you in that situation? True business means this. If I'm worth $100 million in marketing, as you said, then you create $100 million worth of marketing. You provide this service like anything else. If you want your pool clean, they come, they clean the pool. They tell you how much it costs. They give you an invoice, you pay it within that timeline. Done. You're not going to charge me no $100 million. Say what I would have done if you had me, because without me, you get zero.
Yeah. Zero.
I'm going to $100 million lawsuit because I signed something that I don't understand. Who will help me do that? Between the NCAA and Coach K and all these other great, wonderful advisors, agencies, and people like that, who would do that to me? Who would make me one of the 80% that go broke? Who would make me the guy, Joe Smith from Maryland, that made $100 million and end up with nothing? Who would do that? Who would do that to me is Antoine Walker. Because again, if financial advisors out there, they've been out there. Been there for years. That's my point. Like, if you're not understanding these things and why this situation happens, because you surround yourself with. Dwayne Haskins, unfortunately, is African American. Again, at the end of the day, Johnny Manziel, and like I said, Tim Couch and all those guys. The bottom line, like I said, McFarland, the rest of those guys that are speaking, they are a voice and a piece of what it is. They want to keep it jovial. They want to shuck and jive and kick heels.
Yeah.
That's why I don't listen to that stuff. If you want to do that instead of hearing what I'm saying, you trying to be in the pros. If you're really so concerned about you got mossed and big boy football and all the other gimmicks they put out there right now, turnover chain, turnover chainsaw, turnover book bag, turnover chocolate chip cookies. Listen, you ain't hearing me though. Turnover chocolate chip cookies, turnover book packs and backpacks, and this stuff is stupid. Mind you, these coaches are getting paid millions of dollars for not developing these kids.
They got everything now, man. They just went too far.
I tell you, I'm going in 2021 with a bang, man. I'm not playing anymore. If I don't wake up tomorrow, it's a wrap. Because I'm telling everybody what it is. Now, there's a couple things that I have done and could do that is big time wealth management, protection pertaining to athletes. That's why I've done it with RG. So when I mentioned him being a Michigan guy and a top 5 overall recruit, no one can dispute what we've done. Like, at the end of the day, there's not a recruit coming out that can say that they walk in his shoes. Pre-PostGame has been there because I get paid to teach and advise. I'm not an agent. So I'm not giving you anything. If they pay me to protect them. So that means you could be in high school, be in college, in the pros, or retired. I'm there. You ain't getting away. Yeah. So at the end of the day, it's like, when you do that stuff, again, it's not about, oh, no, that sounds, nah, bruh. Number 1 overall recruit, top 5 all time, highest recruit in the school, first round pick, just doing what he's doing, has his own company, his own business, only player ever to come in as his own sports agency, residual income with other clients. Mind you, people want to go pay other agencies because they want to pay upfront money and more when we charge less. You go right ahead. What I know is that in his 4-year contract and 50-year team option, it ain't going to no agent because it ain't nothing to do with the agent. I oversee that. I make sure of that. So,
hey, a few NFL guys that can benefit from you.
And like I said, my information, as you know, I don't hide. Sports is not a game. Sports is all business. I give out free information.
Website.
Pre-postgame.com. PRE-postgame.com. Now, I'll say one last thing, so I don't want to take up your order to give everybody a headache, because usually when I talk, people fall asleep after, because that's just like, they just like, man, I need a nap.
Make this a series next year.
Well, I said that before, because the bottom line is, the money, again, 70% of what we do in football, almost 85% in basketball, but 80% go broke. Who's involved?
Yeah.
The same coaches, same agencies, the same school, same institution, NCAA. When Zion gets super $100 million, Mike Krzyzewski nowhere to be found. NCAA nowhere to be found.
Yeah.
Haskins gets fired. Urban Meyer nowhere to be found. Agency nowhere to be found. Again, that is business. It's business, and you will find out how much of a business it is when you screw up, because they gonna next man you up, so you can't be next man up anymore. And I really feel like, from what I've seen, I'm a talent evaluator, and that's what I do. So even when people reach out to us to advise them on, for example, we also do the vetting and the auditing and the negotiations for players for different agents. So once again, if I know the information, I did my background already, and the kid is going to be a first round, and the agent comes and says, I want 1%. We're going to say, for what? I said, before you start, sir, explain your value proposition and use nobody else's name except for what you're going to do for this client right here. You want to hear somebody, you want to hear crickets? No spiel. Every spiel is, I work with this guy and that guy. What is work? You tie these shoes? What did you do? But this is, and I know it sounds funny. This is the level of BS that these kids and parents accept, because they don't know what business is. They just look at pictures on social media and see it, think that means something. Then they got me coming in the room like this, and I'm African American. Done deal. Like, so I wear suits and like this, because at the end of the day, let's get to the point. Don't worry about I'm young, don't worry about I'm black. Let's get to the point. I'm about my business. Don't tell me, don't explain the product to me. I don't care. The client wants the product. Explain to me what it's going to cost, the T's and the I's. I'll review the contract, get back to you. Don't tell me how long you've been in the business. Don't tell me who you're friends with. Don't tell me, do you like cheesesteak? I could care less. I don't care. But guess what? These agencies know what your mama like. They know what ice cream flavor you like. They know your girl. When you get drafted in a certain round, no matter what, when you get out the club, when you talk about strippers, the strippers know you coming. So does TMZ. See, that's what I tried to explain to players before. When the NFL put the protocol in about COVID, they got the memo. TMZ put the memo out into the clubs. If you see that guy, just take the picture, get the video. We got the money coming to you. They walk right into the trap. That's everywhere. Places like Miami, Vegas, and Houston. Right, they got a whole like a team meeting just specific for the draft come up. You know, y'all come off the plane, that girl gonna fall right in front of you as you walking off the plane, booty out, and she pregnant in 9 months. Done. This is how it goes.
God.
And then she going directly to this next guy. So this is big business. And when you say 80% got broke, I'm simply breaking down why, the specifics. And at the end of the day, I can't save everybody, and everybody, again, at the end of the day, want to do what they want to do, want to think, because they see something on TV they know best. If you know best, then why 80% of y'all are going to end up with nothing? It won't be me, it won't be you. I see that chair right there. That chair ain't cheap. Chair's not cheap. Chair's not cheap, Ahmad. No, you can bounce back like that. You can't. That chair's not cheap, man. But if you haven't noticed, too, in this industry, how I'm speaking out here publicly and what I'm doing and naming names, because I can do that, you will find most of these guys, you will never have like a round table on Sports Center with like 4 top agencies to ask it, or coaches, how do you recruit? What's recruiting? What do you do to get a kid to come to this school? You won't ever hear that because it's sex, drugs, and alcohol. All is illegal under the age of 18. If you come to the school, you get drunk, you get high? Oh, no. That's what they do.
My man, got a question for you. Do you think it's hard for black athletes to trust black agencies?
That's a great question. Because there isn't any black agency. You know who's a black agency? We are. Rashawn Gary Sports is. You have black agents to work for Caucasian agencies. And that's another setup. Mm-hmm. They give you titles. President, we in the Black Lives Matter movement. They give you the title. But the majority of the money in the breakdown, you got agents who are African-American. They had nothing to do with the actual player, but they put their name, what they call the SRA, Standard Representation Agreement. Because they want to tell somebody else they represented that guy. They never even seen the guy, met the guy. I told this guy, and I don't mind saying it, before I end up finding his agent, who was a very well-reputable lawyer, attorney, contract law, intellectual property protection law, interviewed the process. It took me 7 months. Told him from the get-go, I said, there's not a lot of reputable black guys in this business. And that's a fact. Mm-hmm. We sell each other. I'm black. Black agents don't talk like me. They can't talk like me. They don't even know what the hell I'm talking about. So they just black. So at the end of the day, if you just being black, that's not a reason to sign your life away. The contract. They ain't got nothing to do with it. It's about professionalism and knowledge. Now, if all things being equal, if you don't have that knowledge, you're going to sign with a Caucasian guy because it is going to feel better in the eyes of the world. Yeah. But if you really talking about being a black agency, in that standpoint, the same guy talking about on Forbes, why haven't they stepped out and do their own agencies if they so qualified and so assured themselves of being a great agent? You got 15, I don't got 15, 20 first rounders. I got one, and I'm talking about the salary cap from the actual CBA. Really, NFL players started making money the last 15 years. So 15 years they got a lot of money. Okay, so the fact is, there's 32 first rounders over the last 15 years. Not a lot of guys. Hold on, let me see something. See, this is see, that's what I'm talking about. Let me make sure that's right. 32. That's 480 guys. It's not a lot in the sense of football. Only 1,400 guys are active every year in the NFL. I happen to represent one of 480 first rounders when they started making real money. If I do that as a business owner directly, and I make sure this kid is all right and do what he's doing, versus being an agent where there's about 100 guys in one agency, and I'm one black guy, and I'm splitting the cost between 7, 8, 9, 10 guys, who's doing better? Me or them? Oh, yeah, me. So I said before, in business, it's better to be the one than one of any day. But once again, to do that, you have to actually know what you're doing.
Yo, that's a jewel. I'd rather be the one than me.
I'm the player's rep. That's the point. When I say I'm the player's rep. Like I'm the. It ain't. There's me. Everybody else is working with the players. And so when you talk about that situation, it's like, well, if y'all so confident, you got 15 first-round picks, leave and start your own agency. See how your recruiting
Do
go
it.
in.
Jerry Maguire. Go do it, Jerry Maguire.
That was Rosenhaus, by the way. So when I talk about how this whole narrative worked, that's who that was based off of. So you can say, show me the money. It has nothing to do with the money. Again, you know, like I know, it has nothing to do with it. There's agencies that will have 5 guys on their roster, and just take the Cowboys, for example, again. And I don't care. Your team, it doesn't matter. Look at the contracts that these guys signed, the ones they bring back. They went and got Alden Smith. That man been out of the league for 5 years. How did he do that? They wanted cheap labor. They got Randy Gregory.
Yeah.
They had Greg Hardy. All these guys on minimum deals to basically try to survive. And that's where you ain't got to draft and pay guys. The one guy that said, you know, I know my worth, Dak Prescott, you didn't want to pay him. And now you about to be upside down. Because Dak made the business decision to sign that franchise tag. Jerry can't go get anybody else anymore. Dak messed them up. The only way this is going to work out is Zeke go and give up all his fake money that he wasn't going to get anyway in the back of the contract when they already, and I said it on your show, they already started moving him out the window for Tony Pollard, which I told you when he signed it was going to happen. Also, Ohio State alumni that play for Urban Meyer. Like I said, pay attention to get the answer to the test. Because the reality is, who's having problems in New Orleans?
For you. Somebody wanted some advice. They said, any advice for me about to start school in sports management?
Southern New Hampshire. That's online. I'll say this about sports management. And again, we have created the only sports business academy in the world, which we sell. We teach all the tools of the business side. A lot of sports management degrees. Again, I talk about the agency world and the trafficking world and the runners world. This stuff is never going to get out on TV. That's why I just said before, why don't you have a round table with, like I said, Saban, Dabo, Ryan Day, and say, hey, let's talk about recruiting, guys. What works for you? They ain't never going to do that.
Yeah. Why
don't they say, let's go into the somebody's classroom of the day somewhere in one of these southern schools and see how their day fully go? Let's just show up. Let's pop up as ESPN. Let's go check out a day of a student athlete. Never going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
These agencies, all these big time agencies, why don't we come and sit down and talk about how we can do better for the athletes? I sat in a meeting last year in the combine amongst the agents, and I watched about 400 of them, pardon my French, but you say cursing gets attention, bitch and moan about players making more and them making less when they ain't did nothing. Out of shape, sloppy, slow, and complaining. Not understanding that when I say the players and families, who's going to be in this business longer, you or the agent? They be like, the agent. Well, then who do you think they're working for? Who set up this structure to tell you that you should pay more and guarantee their contract when yours isn't?
Mm-hmm.
See, you don't have to do that because that's not the contract we got with his agent because I negotiated. So the fact is, but everybody else do what everybody else do because they don't know their value and their worth. If I'm going to be an undrafted free agent, I may need an agent, but I need him to put out some film and speak on certain things. However, think about this. If I'm an undrafted free agent, is Rock Nation signing me? Then why then what makes you an agent?
But basically like a leech.
You're a runner. You're a trafficker. Because the bottom line, if I'm an undrafted free agent, you can't do nothing for me. You telling on yourself.
For me.
Des Bryant been out the league for 4 years. Took me through the X's. 4 years.
He scored.
Yeah. He
scored.
He told me he almost cried. You should cry because, bro, you done. This is a good little story during COVID because they can't get certain people through the door.
Yeah.
Come next year?
Yeah.
But my point is, if you're an agent, you're supposed to represent people looking to get hired. But I'm explaining in that profession, they won't represent you. And you're not really an agent because I can't go in and get service from you. So who are you representing? Somebody that's already there.
You know what? No, that you make a good point. I would love to see like a Rock Nation go seek out like an undrafted free agent. Show me that you can really do your job.
No, bro. I'll tell you what the job is. That ain't the job. The job is to make it look a certain way. That's why, like I said before, if you look at the old rappers back in the day, the Crews, the Rough Riders, the DMX, the Dipset, all these guys, and they used to do studio time. They would take the studio time. Well, all the rappers I've figured out is that, hey, these guys are coming in with money already. I ain't got to pay for studio time. They still like my 50, like me as a 50-year-old rapper. Let me act like, take a couple pictures. Let me sit courtside. Let me give them hundreds of $1,000s to look like I'm somebody. But the sad part about that is, 80% go broke. Y'all should Google Patrick Pass from New England Patriots, who is younger than me right now. He couldn't sit in his room right now with that light like that, because he under the cover. Because he can't hear, can't see. See the stories you're talking about again. So the money that he paid, he can't even get the medical health benefits that literally is going what it is. Somebody asked about Okun.
Somebody asked to pay half his salary in Bitcoin.
Again, I'm not going to go into, because technically financial advice and those things is something that each one of those guys should learn and get with somebody regarding those things. When I talk about business principles, I talk about looking, understanding your portfolio, about what it is that you have that you can take a chance on if you need to, if you really believe in that certain scenario, but understanding the pros and the cons of it, the risk versus the reward, making an actual conscious decision and have some type of protections for yourself. If you wanted to do something like that, what I would say is that, again, somebody said half of money, I wouldn't put half of anything in something I don't understand right away.
No, he didn't pay half his salary.
Well, that's my point. Why half? Is it tried and true yet? I don't know. So I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah, they just said.
So that's a big investment to take a chance on something you don't know and don't understand. It's like the reality is that you literally, there's certain principles in this country. That's why I mentioned again, life insurance versus agents. Because if I say to you, I'm going to charge you less, and this is why I'm charging you less, because I need you to understand the NFL is not for long. I need you to understand that life insurance, as you get older, you can't get paid out as much. I need you to understand that there's a thing called a dividend, which again, going back to Mass Mutual in the 1800s, that pays more. That's generational wealth in the United States of America. That's the number one thing. There are people that's in rural America right now that got $5 to their name and got insurance policies, and all of a sudden something happens, they rich. That's why in murder cases, they always ask who's the beneficiary when somebody gets killed, especially when white people. So if you watch those A&E channels or Snapped, first thing they say, who's the beneficiary? They trying to see if it's a policy, because that's going to take you from poor to rich like that. So you can also take it out. So it's like, if I now present that to you and say, you know what, it's better to do that than pay somebody for 4 years and something happened this year, that's value to me. Thank you for that. I didn't know that. Oh, but what happens if I get somebody pregnant and they want to go after child support? Now I'm saying things that I get paid to teach. You can't take take child support from life insurance. I'm not saying go with somebody pregnant either. I'm saying that from a law and a business standpoint, life insurance is protected. The judge can't come and say, give up your life insurance. No, that's for my kid, judge. Or whatever happened. Like that ain't up for it.
Yeah.
That ain't up for it. That's not what it is. So again, in this scenario, RG, any athlete, what they don't understand about business is that you, Ahmad Hawkins, you can slap me in my face right now. And if you do, I can sue you. But if you're wearing that shut the hell up juice on, like, nah, that wasn't Ahmad, that was Ahmad Hawkins LLC. I can sue the company. You will have more protections for me getting what you got financially through your business than I would personally. Because that's just how it works. Yeah. But you don't know anybody in this country that's rich that is in the business. Yet athletes aren't. Well, I know one is because I represent them. And I'm a business. So
that's another Jew.
What rich person isn't a business? There is none. But we got athletes coming in every year to becoming multimillionaires overnight. And they funding other agency businesses that are millionaires. While you funding them off of your labor, your work, and that stuff like that. Absolutely. FDIC money insured $250,000. But once again, $250, that's you can make more money than that. So you're gonna need more than one FDIC type of scenario. And there's a whole lot of stuff that go into these things. But once again, most athletes, you can't just have this conversation with them when they like 20 years old.
Hey, Terrence asked a good question. Do you think that's why Alex Smith came back, because of maybe not having a good insurance policy?
Truth be told, Caucasian athletes in the NFL go broke too, contrary to belief. This system is set up to do what everybody else does. So for guys that got the good stories and things like that, don't mean they over there doing well with their money. we just talk about Kirk Cousins, about how he operated and when he took the franchise tag a couple years. And currently, right now, Kirk Cousins, like I said, is on pace to be the highest paid player in NFL history, surpassing Eli Manning. Now, nobody's going to say Eli.
Ever.
Yeah, nobody's going to say Eli and Kirk was the best ever. They're going to be paid as the best ever currently right now. And it had nothing to do with an agent. Once again, Kirk, bottom line is, if you understand how this works, the contracts that are longer or backloaded aren't guaranteed. You take care of your body, you play your work, you be competent. Kurt isn't great, but he's competent.
Mm-hmm.
He ain't throwing the ball in the dirt. At the end of the day, if he became a free agent, I know the Patriots would take him over Cam. So, and I'm saying that to say, like, so all the other drama and all the stuff that will bring to you, your uniforms and your clothing, and I'm saying this again to go against the Petty Hawks narrative. I'm saying is that during the business, if you're in the business of being a quarterback, be the quarterback first.
Yep.
Get that right.
Yeah.
Because you ain't going to have no, but it's not fair. You ain't talking about this guy. It don't matter. You won a 32.
Don't matter.
You want to have your head sticking up like this? Somebody going to make a meme about it, your head pointing to the dirt in the ground like it's like a satellite radar or something. Don't do it to yourself.
Yeah. Don't do it to yourself. So, at the end of the day, I just wanted to get that off my chest because, like I said, again, this industry has made so much money based off of the exploits and the talents of African Americans. And again, the reality is when you talk about the people that you're around and why these guys are making these decisions, you have to point it out. If you a coach like an Urban Meyer, and I mentioned again, and you have all these issues off the field with your former players, how is it that you're still being employed and your coaching staff? So you're going to go back to Dwayne Haskins and say he's not developed. Well, who did he play for? And you paying them. Like, yeah, you about to hire him.
Yeah, but we know why you're hiring him. Not because, again, remember, every NFL team ain't trying to win. They hired him because of his name recognition for now. But that don't do anything. Nick Saban tried that. Those college coaches are not in the NFL for a reason. They don't know what they're doing. I'm saying that to your audience. Yeah, they don't know anything.
The guys don't develop, but the people who draft them or are supposed to develop them still got the job.
That's the point. It's a hustle, man. It's a trafficking thing. We are the labor. We run around and jump up and down and take helmet stickers and do the dance and lock arms and all that stuff. Get concussions, don't tell anybody about it. Get COVID, don't get tested. And then act like we're supposed to pay homage to people for an actual a national championship. Last thing I'm saying on this part, perfect example, college football. They've shown you how much of a sports trafficking business this is. There's no championship. This thing is all paid for play. They got guys that were saying, we can't play this week. Or we'll play this week. It's still a pandemic where you at too. We'll play. We'll play because you're going to get paid. Not the players.
Yeah.
You are. And you don't want to pay
the
coaches if you can't get paid. So it's like you want to put us out there. We ain't got no representation whatsoever. We got the same 4 people they wanted in the first, but the only people that's not in the championship round that they thought was going to be there. But that did change as soon as Notre Dame jumped in. That just took over the SEC thing. So those 4 teams, they might as well skip the whole season. Let them dummies play regardless.
Yeah.
That's what they wanted anyway.
Yep. Oh, they made an exception for Ohio State. They made sure because Justin was one of the guys that said we want to play.
Yeah, and Justin going to end up losing his draft status because he wanted to play. Just so we want to be clear about that. He should have sat where he was pretty and let him get drafted in the top 10 because he exposed himself. He ain't won no Heisman. And neither is Trevor Lawrence, by the way. They're going to try to push it. They're going to try to push it.
Oh, and about
they're going to try to push it. Dabble going to try to push it. Well, that's the point. Dabble so concerned about Trevor making – where's Kelly Bryant and Taj Boyd right now? With that education and them championship rings. Oh, that's right. He didn't give Kelly a ring because he left after you forced him out. My bad. Y'all better pay attention, man. Y'all better pay attention.
Hey, the Lakers did give Boogie Cousins his ring,
right?
Yo.
But I'm saying Dabble don't. He left. You took my job. I'm undefeated, but I can't get the ring because I really think the ring is that important to me. I'm really devaluing my life and my career because I'm not even in the NFL right now, and I committed to you. Yeah. And you threw me away like trash and then not give me a ring, and like that's cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not playing. I'm not pulling the punches with these people, man. Without us, there's no them. Just understand that. That's the bottom. That's the moral of the story. Without us, there is no them. Sports is the only business in the world. So when you look at the top Forbes agents, you talk about black agencies again, that's why they don't show faces. Look at the names. Look who they're representing. Look at their bodies, stomachs, backs. Tell me who they jumping and running. And ask yourself why the guys they represent have nothing while they sitting on like 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 million. When, again, not just the NFL, NBA contracts are slotted too.
Now, some people going to ask you about Clutch, though. They're going to say Clutch has been taking care of guys like the Ben Simmons of the world and the contracts they've been signing. Ben
Simmons is Ben Simmons. If it was me, Clutch ain't taking care of me because I can't play. It doesn't matter. Again, this goes back to like the chicken and the egg. It's Ben Simmons.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. Noel Nervous just fired Clutch because I guess he felt like he wasn't getting what he needed to get. I'm like, bruh, you ain't playing well. It don't matter if it's Clutch. It don't matter if it's Clutch. Like, Haskins, playing for the Redskins. He's the first round pick. Did he not get benched and put to the third team? Represented by one of the best agencies in the world, so they say. They don't control anything. Agents don't control nothing when it comes to the playing time. It don't. And so at the end of the day, that's another thing. You think they can do whatever? Nah, again, contracts are already negotiated. If this guy right here we work with does well the next 4 years and we help get him in the right situation, he wrote his own check.
So did that speak to like Patrick Mahomes? They just asked about his contract. He pretty much wrote that when he won the Super Bowl, right?
He definitely did. Like any other player, it's not at his level, but at the same time, he gave a team-friendly deal. So when I said about Patrick Mahomes, again, we don't know, talking about agents, Patrick Mahomes only guaranteed $140 million. And again, I'll break it down even further. Patrick Mahomes has to play another 7 years to get what Russell Wilson is getting right now per season, which is like $37 million or $38 million a year. I'm going to say that again. He has to play another 7 years to start making what Russell Wilson is making on average right now today. So,
but they see they 400. They look, you always look at the big.
They look at the paper. Hey, hold on.
Yeah,
hold on.
Yeah, go ahead and do what they do.
Ball Hawk. There you go. All you, buddy.
That's
your
what they
contract. I'm signing it right now.
Yeah.
Ball Hawk, $400 million. I hurt my leg.
Yeah.
Sit. Done. That's the NFL contract right there. What I should have did was I should have put it on the side of the paper because it's gonna be backloaded. So you're gonna have like 100, you're gonna have like 10 up front, 20, 30, 75, 99, blah, 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 blah. That's called team
friendly. Out of the 400, you just said 100 is
140 from injury.
So he basically signed.
Yeah, but if he go do what Dwayne Haskins did, he can get that taken away too. Because that's in your contract. Your guarantees can basically be voided based off conduct detrimental. So we talk about why they did what they did, and they want to go. The NFL goes after money. They're gonna go after this money. Why wouldn't they? They wanted to get out front to next year to get a quarterback. They didn't want to have what's he gonna do next year? Is he gonna be back next year? They didn't want to go. They wanted to get to the process of saying, all right, we're moving on from that, and we can go through the draft process, not possibly even moving up from that standpoint. Having them on the roster, answering those questions. Ron Rivera didn't want to do it anymore, regardless of the fact. And then at the end of the day, now that clears that situation. So they can just go ahead and go to the draft and try to find another guy. But like I said, conduct detrimental is real. And the NFL, the CBA created a deal. All the players are aware. They told them that do not violate these protocols. You will rue the day if you cost these teams one of these games. They told them. Players, no, okay. Again, professional. When I say we, many people are struggling right now, can't go to work, can't do this, can't do that. You play in the NFL. You can sit in a bubble all day. You could bring the strippers to you, Dwayne Haskins. You ain't got to do nothing. Billionaire corporation will look at it like, how stupid can you be to go there and have 7 of them wearing an NFL authenticated jersey.
Yeah.
That's it. Like black, white, yellow, green, bro. Corporate America.
And like you said, holler at Derek Jeter, or he need to holler at the
You
people
can talk
that
to
surround Justin Bieber.
pre-postgame.com. Pre-postgame, this would never happen. It's just the bottom line.
Yeah.
Because you're gonna know beforehand. And beforehand it's like,
Yeah.
well, since I'm not charging you that much like they charging you, if you screw this up, then I'm gonna raise my prices because you're willing to pay a lawyer for something that you shouldn't be paying them for. You clearly don't belong in this space. You manage.
Yeah, we got you, Adam. Starting the new year, dog. This gonna be a weekly thing. You just gotta work out the schedules. But he trust me. Look, Adam, he already been in my ear for a year saying, "Dog, we gotta do something."
Because nobody
every
else is
week.
gonna do
He
it.
said that.
Nobody else is gonna say what we say.
Yeah.
Nobody else. They canceling them ballers because it started to get too real. Like I swear, if you go to watch
Yeah.
ballers, you look to the content, and then watch anywhere else you see that stuff. You're like, I ain't seen that anywhere else before. It's on my site.
Mm-hmm.
So and again, I hate. And so this is your audience to know why do I sound somewhat braggadocious? Because once again, when I said before in this business, when you got to be the one versus one of, you're the only one. There's no one that's gonna come and stand to my defense or my side based off of what I'm saying. I represent the player. The thing is this: I'm in this business once again. So people are smart on your site.
Check the view.
So therefore, again, this ain't because I don't got no brooms. I'm not here cleaning right now. This computer,
It's
I'm
yours.
competent, very competent in what I do. My point is that if you don't basically, like I say, invest in yourself, not the industry, and speak to your value, no one else is going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, it's like you get more no's than you get yeses in this business. But I've had people literally like disrespect me to some points about what they saw on TV. And I know my value. And last year I kind of like, all right, they don't know any better. I'm not doing that anymore. Like, I'm gonna let you know, I'm the best in the business of what I do. Point blank, end of story. And if you find somebody say they are, tell them to speak on it. You're not gonna do it. They're not gonna do it. And then they don't matter who they are. So the problem is for all of us that we commentate in the so-called sports industry, speak on it. We speak on things we do not know. I'm in this thing. I've done some things that ain't never been done. I've actually dealt with the compliance department in some of these major schools. For those you don't know, compliance means lawyers. They basically want you to think that they compliance and they want to be friendly. They working on behalf of the actual school. Compliance. So therefore, they make it sound friendly, but they're gonna protect the school first and foremost. They're lawyers.
Yeah.
So when you have to break down a school compliance department, let them know how it's gonna be, or else, not because someone gonna be like, well, you know what, you can't do that. I mentioned the situation with James Wiseman. It's like he didn't need Memphis. He proved that again. Memphis needed him, and so did the NCAA. And once I keep teaching that and bringing that story to the forefront, we're going to start getting our own little facility and gyms and trainings that we have after the fact and do that. Because that education you're talking about, we teach it here. NCAA educate you like me, and they not. So, why sit there and pretend that literally you want to be a pro athlete and you don't understand how, if you don't pay your phone bill, that's on your credit report for 10 years. Then you got to go pay some agent some upfront money, interest that you don't understand. And then when you sign, you was in the NFL, when you sign in the NFL a contract or SRA, that 99% of the time when it goes to arbitration, meaning like if you got a dispute with the agent, they side with the agents.
Yeah.
99% of the time, the arbitrator for the league I play in signs or agrees with the guys that represent me.
Yeah.
That's why I'm never going to be an agent, because I don't need to be. And I told the NFL that. You don't need to have an agent to be in the NFL. Like I said, first round, you need business acumen, you need professional development, you need infrastructure, you need to basically understand what to do and what not to do and when to do it. That's it. Everything else, like I said, if you that good, you're going to be there. Trevor Lawrence, touchdown, Jesus, people are making money off of this guy for like 5 years already, but he can't off himself. What stupid is that?
Nope.
But we signed up for it, though.
Because you're getting a free education.
What education, Ahmad? You basically you can go blow your league out tomorrow and he's not getting drafted in the first round. We've seen this stuff happen. So when the guy says DeMarcus Russell,
what's scholarships again? 501c. What is it?
What you mean? 401k?
scholarship.
No.
Guys are right on.
501c3. It's financial aid, but he ain't
Yeah.
poor. Financial aid. So
Yeah.
financial aid is what college scholarships are. Just that's a subsidy. A subsidy is what the government gives to schools that are 501c3 to have poor people there. So it's in-state and out-of-state tuition.
Mhm.
So if you're from Virginia and you wanted to go to UVA, or another example, I'm from Florida and I wanted to walk on in Miami and get a full scholarship at UVA. It's actually cheaper for you to walk on in Miami than to come to Virginia on a full scholarship, because you are in-state and your financial aid, if you already there, is cheaper. So therefore, Miami they talk about keeping guys in-state. It's not because they love you; it's because they don't want to pay more. Out-of-state guys have to get more in you so-called tuition, but it's not. You poor, the financial aid covers the majority of it, and then what's not covered, the scholarship that kicks in usually comes in again. Remember, Nike done gave Ohio State like $500 million. So they put you in that uniform and it was on TV. That's covering the bill. They ain't doing nothing for you. You go out there and play in it. When they dragged Tua and his broken hip off the floor last year wearing that Nike uniform, they saw that Nike check. He wasn't getting one. But Alabama didn't have Tua with an insurance policy either. But had him playing into the third quarter after he came off of surgery in a 35-7 blowout. Talking about he wanted to get him working a 2-minute drill. How stupid is that?
And Saban,
That's college.
the
That's
greatest coach.
sports. Again, not understanding it's a business. I just came off of surgery. We up 35-7 against a team. And I just came off of surgery last week. I don't have an insurance policy. And you saying that I almost got my leg ripped off my body for the 2-minute drill. If you think like that, if you're willing to jeopardize things like that, but then you're the same person, and these guys will turn around. Again, I keep saying the last thing I'm gonna say because it's so much stuff. But for you guys out there, and you keep when it's gonna happen again, when y'all see this kid get drafted, and 2 weeks, 3 weeks later, he got his mama a car with a bow, and it's on his grass, his nappy hair like Kevin Durant's hair. I'm trying to explain to y'all that's bad business. Bad. You'd be better off getting you a house or an insurance policy. That's an asset that gets tax benefits versus getting a car that depreciates in half. And your mama's still living in the hood while your agent is living on Laguna Beach somewhere. I can show you better than I can tell you, man.
Hey, man, we're going to do this again.
Yeah.
Hopefully everybody appreciates it.
Happy New Year to you guys, because I got a headache. I had one all day because of this whole thing with this McFarland. And when you get on with me and BallHawk, just know I'm bringing it to you real. I'm going to educate and empower, protect you. That's my guarantee. Checks and balance system. I am not talking about turnover change. I'm not talking about you got mossed. I'm not talking about, end of the day, woo, woo. I got 3 hats over here. Which one I'm going to wear? I'm going to pull it out my shirt and wrap it around my neck. I'm not doing none of that. You branding them. You ain't branding you.
Yep.
Happy New Year to you, BallHawk.
Exactly.
I appreciate you, boss.
All right, bro. Peace, man.
All right.
Everybody, you can't keep going after Robert T. Green step up on the scene, man. So y'all be easy. I think we broke the record today for a live podcast. So, I mean, I'll chop it up and put it up on my YouTube. I'm going to just give him his own episode. So if you missed everything that he said, give me a couple hours. I'm going to edit it and give him his own episode because he dropped so many jewels I think people need to hear. And it's going to frustrate folks because it's going to go against what they've been taught because he's speaking the truth. But y'all be easy, man.